Hi, I'm Andy Nelson. I'm a guest artist at McPhail, and I'm here to help you prepare for the Alto Sax Etude for MMEA All-State Band. This etude is, first of all, a lot of fun to play, and what makes it fun to play is the style that it's in. And so I like to look at the big stuff first, the tempo markings, and then the style of the piece. And it says Allegro agitato, so restless. I like agitato because it's agitated, and that's actually what it means. So even if it didn't say agitato, you get, I think, the spirit of that with this rhythm that you see at 9, this 16th, 8th, 16th tied, da 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 da. And so that already kind of propels it into like a fun, syncopated, agitated, in a good way, piece. So that already will propel you to be playing fast, but make sure that you don't rush and that it's not pushing too much. So with staccato notes, with our 8th notes here, I like to think of really light, but also putting space. Don't be in a hurry to get to the end of the phrase with that. And then what I like to do with this piece in particular, since it has the Allegro agitato, and then you return to that later, it's just as a practice idea, practice the Allegros together. So you practice the first part, and then while you're in that same kind of mode, go to the Allegro at the end. So then practice 29 and then through A, and through the end of the piece, just so you have that same kind of stylistic kind of element going throughout. Practice the triplets slowly so that you get accurate articulations. And in particular, 2 spots. The first spot would be like measure 3. So where you have triplets obviously grouped in 3 rhythmically, but then you have this the first 2 triplets slurred, then you have a tongue, and then the second 2, which is wonderful, and it really produces another kind of syncopation kind of element to the piece. But I would just go real slow with that and make sure you're getting clear articulations, not too strong, but just clear, hopefully, that comes through when you do that. And then have fun with the accents. So since this piece is fun, have fun with the accents. There's not a whole lot of accents written in, but like measure 9, for instance, da 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 da, because the second part of the syncopation is going to want to stand out. So really emphasize the beginning of those, dee da 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 da, and then make sure that you are using bis B flat for this etude. We have so much movement between G and B flat that I feel like that warrants it just about all the time. You have some other parts of the etude where you can use side B flat. I just like this B flat. You don't have any B naturals, and you can just rest your finger right there for the whole Allegro section and basically be set. So I think that will help with that. Some other things then to keep in mind then when we get to the andantino section, andantino cantabile, right? So we have kind of lighter and quicker than andante. Andante is just a little bit slower, so it's moves a little bit more than andante, and then cantabile, so sing it out. Love every note is what I wrote down, because I think there too, when we get to some of these quicker parts in that, we might have the tendency to kind of push or rush through it. So just make sure that you love every note. I would definitely recommend practicing it. It says the dotted quarter note is 60. So that's the tempo. And if we listen to that with like a metronome here, we have, right? That gives you a lot of room in there to kind of push and pull and place notes in different spots. What I would recommend doing instead of that, when you practice it at first at least, is setting the metronome to the 8th note. So if we're playing it at tempo, that's 180. Gotta love the sound of that. So then it really marks those spots for you, especially with the 16th note part. So Dee-da-dee-da-da-da-dee-da-da-da-dee-da. When I first started practicing this, I was rushing those until I did that. And then I went, oh, I was a little aware of that rushing, but then when you put that eighth note on there, it really drives that home. So I think that will help. Also, taking a breath in the eighth rests, I would just go ahead and remind yourself, even by marking a breath mark in all the eighth rests, really throughout. Finally, in the allegro agitato section, in the A ending, when you get to measure 40, that's what I was talking about with 16th note subdivisions. That's where you really want to think of 16th note subdivisions, because you have 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2, at the very end of that. So you want to think during that eighth note, the A in measure 40, be thinking 16th notes right there and slow. So I would go. And I'm just in my head, and I'm even making some sounds. I'm really thinking of those 16th notes all the way through, so that I don't turn that into an eighth rest. It'd be really easy to turn that into, or just 2 eighth notes rather, and kind of smush those together. So I think that will help you. Best of luck. You got this.